Robert, what is China's role? What is China's responsibility here?
China sees itself as a peacemaker. It really didn't want any part of this fight, but it has seen that it cannot avoid being involved. Now, we have to start with China's relationship with Russia, because China believes that it needs Russia to counterbalance the U.S., which China believes seeks to contain its rise, thwart its sovereignty claims, particularly over Taiwan and in the South China Sea, and perhaps even change its party-ruling political system, which President Biden's administration has clearly said that it is not on its agenda. But putting it all together, China has the so-called no limits strategic partnership with Russia. Now, that said, China has to deal with two sets of contradictory positions. First, supporting Russia while maintaining its long-term inviolate position on the sanctity of international borders and sovereignty, which has been the core of its foreign policy for decades. Secondly, supporting Russia while not overtly alienating the U.S. and Europe, which is by far the vast majority of its international trade. But China has been sort of trying to show a neutral but yet skewing pro-Russian position. You can see it in its media, repeating some of Russia's disinformation, et cetera. But in recent days, after the call between Biden and Xi, you see a subtle shift, a course correction in the narrative. So China is now talking more about peace, more that its role can be with both sides, can help facilitate some sort of peaceful solution.
Because, Robert, neutrality right now is the tantamount to acceptance, is it not? I mean, Russia invaded a peaceful neighboring nation under the guise of, quote, liberations, 1939 all over again.
Yeah, there's no doubt that China's position has this contradiction built into it, but it is now saying that maintaining its relationship with Russia can actually put China in a position to facilitate some sort of ceasefire, if not a full peace arrangement. Whether that's true and how that works, we'll have to see. But I don't think we will see China backing off its position in terms of its relationship with Russia. It's not just that it needs Russian energy and gas and the long-term commitments that it's made. It really sees Russia as a bulwark against what it perceives as the U.S.'s long-term interest in containing China, influencing its sovereignty, human rights criticisms, and in fact the whole party political system. So China's not going to be
Robert. Sorry to interrupt. As China watches the world's reaction, the near universal condemnation of Putin, of course, except for outside of China itself, does it alter their calculus on how they may ultimately perceive Taiwan?
It certainly alters their calculus in a nuanced way in recent days, particularly after the phone call with Xi. China's been a great supporter of the UN, and we see overtly 141 nations voting to condemn Russia, 30 some odd nations to abstain, and only 3 or 4 other nations to oppose it. So China was on the vast minority side of that. That's in the UN, and China does not like to be in that position because the UN is so important to its diplomatic affairs going forward on all issues. Regarding Taiwan, China has been vociferous in trying to distinguish Ukraine from Taiwan, and it does that by admitting and stating overtly that Ukraine is a sovereign country, whereas Taiwan, in China's perception, is an internal problem because Taiwan is part of China. So they try to make that distinguishing, but it is a strain.